Find the derivative of tangent of x. So, go ahead. The derivative in respect to x of tan of x is really equal to the derivative in respect to x of sine x divided by cosine of x. And all you have to do is use the quotient rule. Now remember the quotient rule states that the derivative in respect to x of f of x divided by g of x is going to equal g of x times f prime of x, or derivative of f of x, minus f of x times g prime of x divided by g of x squared. So what you have to do first is find f of x, and that's going to be sine of x in our given function, right? And then f prime of x is going to be equal to cosine x, and g of x is equal to cosine of x, and g prime of x is equal to negative sine of x. And so, applying the quotient rule, right, the derivative in respect to x of sine x divided by cosine x is equal to g of x, which is cosine x, times, right, f prime of x, right, which is cosine x, and then minus, right, f of x, which is equal to sine of x, times g prime of x, which is negative sine x, all over gx squared, and gx is cosine x, so cosine x squared. So then it's going to be derivative with respect to x of sine x divided by cosine x is going to be equal to cosine squared x, which is shown by putting the squared in between the cosine and the x instead of the squared after the x, to not confuse it with cosine of x squared opposed to cosine of x and that whole thing squared. So this is cosine of the x, cosine x with the whole thing squared, minus negative sine x times negative sine x is positive sine x squared. Same thing with sine x. Put the squared in between the trigonometric function and the letter and the variable, cosine squared x. So then you're going to notice that you have the derivative in respect to x, the sine x divided by cosine x. In terms of x, it's going to be cosine squared x plus sine squared x, as the identity says, is equal to 1 over cosine squared x. And you're going to notice that the derivative of tangent, right, of x is really equal to secant squared x.